Here we go now.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to it. I am your humble host, TV's Rob. And this week has been a crazy week. There's been so much going on, both in the news, around the world, personally. So I'm going to dive right in. But I'm going to start off being a little self-serving this week. Car shopping. How many people have been car shopping in recent years? How annoying is it? How much is it just a pain in the ass? Now, this past week, if you follow me on Twitter at TVsRob_official, by the way, if you follow me there, you probably would have noticed at some point that there was a tweet going around with a picture of a new car that I took off of a lot. Well, yes, this past week, I went out and I got myself a brand new 2021 Ford Mustang GT Fastback with a 6-speed manual transmission, because if you're going to buy a pony car, if you're going to buy a Mustang, it's got to be a manual transmission. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And special shout out and thank you to Eddie at Planet Ford, which used to be Park Cities Ford in Dallas, for hooking me up with the ride. But let me tell you, shopping for a new car is an absolute pain for me. For the past 4 years plus, I've been driving in a Volkswagen Jetta. Now, don't get me wrong. The Jetta had been a really good car for me. Turbocharged 4-cylinder, 4 doors, very fuel efficient. 450 miles on a tank of gas. I'm definitely not getting that kind of mileage now. So with gas prices going up, I'm probably an idiot for buying such a car at this time. But hey. But the Volkswagen Jetta was a new-to-me car. It wasn't a new car when I bought it. This Mustang is the very first brand new car I've ever gotten in my life. And the only reason I actually went out and got it was because I figure, I'm working 3 jobs. 2 of them are full-time, and 1 of them is part-time. Most of you know what the part-time job is. I push buttons and do stupid things. But I figure if I'm working that much, I kind of want to reward myself, especially with my birthday coming up in less than a month. I figured, why not? Plus, the wife said I can get it. So I had to get it, right? Right? You only live once, right? But I had been doing so much research because I knew what kind of car I wanted to get in terms of a performance car. And of course, I don't want to go too over the top because, I still have to be conscious of cost and things like that. It's not like I've got that big fuck you money and just can whip it out and just slap it on the table and say, I want this. I have to finance it, so I got to make sure I can afford it. I had been going back and forth. I told myself I either wanted to get a new Mustang, which I've had a Mustang before in the past. When I was in my 20s, I had a 1997 Mustang convertible. It was pretty fun. It was cool. But it was only the 6-cylinder. I only had the automatic transmission. It was new to me. It wasn't new. So I enjoyed it. I had always been a fan of the Mustangs. So for me back then, that was, hey, I finally got a Mustang. I'm happy. Well, this one just blows the doors off of the one that I had back in my 20s. Bigger engine, more performance, manual, color I want. Everything just screams awesome. Like I said, I'm happy. But when I was doing the due diligence in terms of what car to get, Mustang versus Camaro, and the rabbit hole you could fall into while looking between a Mustang and a Camaro. Which one do you go with? Which one do you go with? Oh my God, so many choices, so many options, so many different things to look at. I was watching YouTube videos. I was looking at Consumer Reports. I was looking at resale value, maintenance records. How much does it cost to keep it up? What can I expect while I'm owning it to be repaired and needing to get done to it? And da-da-da-da-da. Just so many different things. Price, location, colors available, options available. And it sent my head spinning. It really, really did. And to tell you the truth, I'm not even sure why I was really considering the Camaro, other than, man, those things look great. The new ones especially, they look really cool. They look really mean. And I'm thinking, okay. I was also looking at the price and I'm thinking, well, damn, Ford really takes pride in their car because this thing is far more expensive than what I could get if I got a Camaro. But when it came down to it, the Mustang spoke to me more, so I went with that. And I really honestly couldn't be happier with it. But I gotta say, car salesman really pissed me off. When I got my Jetta, I got it at CarMax, so there was no haggling over price. There was none of the games that you play when you go to a car dealership. It was, hey, this is the price. Yes, you can get financing. Here's your monthly payment. Here's the length of the term. Do you accept? Yes or no? Sign the damn documents. Okay, great. Piece of cake. But this time around, oh, let me tell you, it was annoying. I had gotten an offer from my credit card company and my bank that said, hey, you are pre-approved for financing up to a certain amount. And I'm thinking, sweet, I can go get a new car because it was time for a new car. So I go online, I'm looking at the thing and I see the options available. So I go ahead and I select the Mustang at a dealership here in Dallas. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. I send the offer over to the dealership. I get a text message a few minutes later from the online salesperson saying, hey, got your approval here. What time do you think you could come by? What would be a good day? I said, I could come by today. She said, great. Okay. I said, now I have one question. Is it as simple as I show up, I test drive, and then we just start signing and I drive? She said, yeah, it's that simple. I said, okay, great. I'll see you in a couple of hours. I get out to the dealership. The guy I was supposed to talk to isn't there. They had to go find him, so I'm dealing with some other jackoff. And he decides that he's just going to annoy the crap out of me. Oh, are you sure you want to get a Mustang? Yes, I'm sure I want to get a Mustang. Would you like to check out one of these other cars? No, I'm here for the Mustang. Thank you. Well, have you seen the new Mustang Mach-E? Yes, I've seen the Mustang Mach-E. Well, what do you think about it? I mean, it's a great car. I'm not interested in an electric Mustang. I'm just not. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure, dude. I'm here for this car. So here's the car that I want. Go get it so I can test drive it. Well, the guy that I was supposed to see originally shows up. So they decide, tag out. I'm thinking, okay, so now I have another car salesman to deal with. This guy comes in, sits down, he starts looking at papers and everything. And the first words out of his mouth were just absolutely astonishing to me. So you're looking at the Mustang? Yes, I'm looking at the Mustang. That's why I'm here. And he says out loud, and I'm guessing he was just thinking out loud, but not thinking that, oh, I would actually be able to hear him, even though he's sitting across from me at a table wearing a frickin' mask. Their company policy still has people wearing masks. He says, I'm not sure we can get you financed for a Mustang. And right there, I swear to God, I did the AOC just gut check stop. I said, what are you talking about? I have an approval letter from my bank saying I'm good to go here. So what is this? Why are you saying that? And he stops and he's just saying, well, I'm not too sure we can do the financing for a Mustang. And I looked at him and said, bro, I don't have to buy a car. I've got a car. I'm here because I want to buy a car. So you can either buck up and get me what I want, or I can just go elsewhere, or you can find me somebody else here to deal with. Instantaneously, his entire mindset changes. It's, oh, yes, I'm sorry, sir. I was just thinking out loud. I'm sorry. You know what? Do you have the stock numbers for that Mustang that you were looking at? Yes, I do. Okay, well, why don't you give me that real quick, and I'll go and I'll get it and I'll pull it around so you can test drive it. There you go. I made him my bitch within the first 5 minutes of him talking to me because of that crap. So he pulls a couple of cars around. Come to find out, neither one of them are the ones that I was really looking at. They were both automatics. I looked at him and I said, do you not have one that is a standard? Because that's what I'm looking for. He said they have one on the lot. I said, okay, show it to me. We go and we look, I test drive it, and it's the car I ended up with. Oh, it was very, very nice. But of course, on the lot, as we're walking over to the car that I eventually purchased, there sat the brand new Mustang Mach-E. And he's walking beside me and he's telling me how wonderful that car is. And I immediately looked at him and said, dude, I am not interested in this car. I think that car is an abomination. There should be nothing electric in the name of a Mustang. Using the Mustang nameplate for an electric car that has 4 doors and doesn't look anything like a real Mustang is just a slap in the face to Mustang enthusiasts. That's all I'm going to say. But that brings me to our first topic of the day. So you were probably wondering, like, why are you telling us this story about getting a new car? We don't care. Well, you know what? I'm excited about it, okay? I'm excited. So I had to boast and brag for a little bit. And Jules, Padhead Jules, you want to race? You come down to Texas. We'll do it. We'll get it on. It's all good. But hey, electric cars, they're the big fad and everything right now. We have Tesla and every other car company is talking about making electric cars. You have General Motors vowing to become all electric by 2035 or whatever it is. Well, guess what, everybody? 1 in 5 electric vehicle owners in California have switched back to gas because charging their cars is a hassle. That's right. It's a hassle. Roughly 20% of electric vehicle owners in California replaced their cars with gas ones. A new study shows the main reason drivers made the switch was the inconvenience of charging. In roughly 3 minutes, you could fill up the gas tank of a Ford Mustang and have enough range to go about 300 miles with its V8 engine. This is true. But for the electric Mustang Mach-E, an hour plugged into a household outlet gave one person just 3 miles of range. You charge it overnight, you're looking at maybe 36 miles of range. Think about it. You charge it for an hour and you get 3 whole miles of range. That wouldn't get me to my closest gas station or my closest grocery store. It would barely get me to the highway that I live closest to. And even then, I think it might die before I got there. Now, standard home outlets generally put out about 120 volts of power at what electric vehicle aficionados call level 1 charging, while the high-powered specialty connections offer 240 volts of power and are known as level 2. By comparison, Tesla's superchargers can fully charge its cars in a little over an hour, offer 480 volts of direct current. Now, the problem I'm seeing here is that the Tesla superchargers offers you 4 times the amount of power that your standard home outlet would. So I'm going to guess that most people are charging their cars with these standard level 1 charging ports. So with that, basically, if you don't have the level 2 or supercharger charging capabilities at home, there's absolutely 0 point to having an electric car. Even with faster charging, a Chevy Bolt still needed almost 6 hours to top its range back up to 300 miles from nearly empty. Something that would only take you a few minutes at a gas pump, even with an SUV. In this study, public charging stations may look like the electric version of gas stations, but nearly 2/3 of the electric vehicle drivers in the survey said they didn't use them. Exactly why they didn't use the public stalls was not specified. I'm going to guess some asshole in a Hummer or some other car was probably parked there, or they just said, you know what, I'm not going to touch it because of COVID. Could be that. Now, of course, with a study like this, you have people freaking out. Researchers are warning that this trend could make it harder to achieve electric vehicle sales targets in California and other countries, and the growth of the market overall. Now, of course, what they don't mention is the fact that while you're buying a car that's electric because you're trying to help the environment and go green and blah, 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 where does the power to charge the thing come from? Oh, the good old classic fossil fuels. So at least this study shows that there is some hope for the people that are buying the electric cars. And I think that's the positive, and that's the thing that we should take away from this story. There is hope for the idiots buying electric cars. Now moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about sports, and one sport in particular. Now, we all know how Major League Baseball has handled the All-Star game ever since Georgia passed their voting rights law. We all know how the NBA and the WNBA have been handling racial matters since last year. We know how the NFL has been handling these matters for years now since Colin Kaepernick first took a knee. One sport that I didn't think would be penetrated, at least at the beginning, was NASCAR. Usually NASCAR screams America. There's flyovers from the military before every race. There's the Star-Spangled Banner, either sung or performed by a band or something before every race. There's a pre-race invocation prayer before every race. And speaking of that pre-race prayer, I have to share with you real quick my favorite one of all time. This was the pre-race invocation from 2011 at Nashville Superspeedway by Pastor Joe Nelms.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for all your blessings. You said in all things give thanks. So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the R07 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa, and my two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
Now, NASCAR is going to return to the Nashville Superspeedway this Father's Day weekend. I'm hoping that they bring him back to do another prayer since they haven't been in the Nashville market for quite a few years. But anyways, I didn't think that the woke culture would be penetrating NASCAR. But of course, throughout 2020, it had, and now it just continues to snowball from there. What am I talking about? Well, there's one driver in particular by the name of Bubba Wallace Jr., aka Bubba. And he is racing to become the face of NASCAR. Like Petty and Yarborough and Earnhardt Jr., Bill Elliott, Chase Elliott before him, Jeff Gordon even. Wallace is trying to become the face of NASCAR. Now, he had a difficult 2020 for a variety of reasons, many of which had nothing to do with COVID-19. He's the only black driver racing currently in NASCAR's top tier. He left Richard Petty Motorsports last year in the fall and is now part of 2311 Racing, a new racing venture started up by driver Denny Hamlin and the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Now, some of you may be aware of the incident at Talladega last year where a garage pull rope was found in his garage stall that was fashioned in the style of a noose, and all of a sudden it became national headlines. Oh, there's a noose in the one black driver's garage stall at Talladega. Oh, those racist rednecks in NASCAR. Come to find out there was no hate crime. There was nothing behind it. It was just, hey, a garage pull. But hey, whatever. It didn't stop his mother from going on Sirius XM radio, trying to gin up sponsorship for him. It didn't stop other companies trying to show how woke they are by signing on the dotted line to give him sponsorship dollars. And despite an average finish last year of 21.1, it gave him a lot of exposure and a lot of sponsorship dollars that most drivers who finished ahead of him couldn't even buy that kind of exposure. Amazing how that works out, isn't it? And of course, all that extra attention even netted him the ride at 2311 Racing with Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, despite having an average finish of 21.1. His average finish the year before, 23.9. In 2018, 24.5. So a driver who finishes consistently in the 20s gets a new, basically top-tier ride. 2311 gets engines from TRD, Toyota Racing Development. They get cars, chassis, data information from Joe Gibbs Racing, the team that Denny Hamlin, one of the co-owners of 2311, currently drives for. This is also a driver who, in the 5 years that he's been in the Cup Series, since 2017, 124 starts, 0 wins, 3 top 5s, 9 top 10s, no pole awards. He's driven a total of 32,532 laps in the Cup Series, has only led 80. And surprisingly, 2021 is the year where he's led the most, currently at 46. His average finish this year, 21.7. So he's actually doing worse in a top-tier ride than he was at Richard Petty Motorsports the year before, which Richard Petty Motorsports is not a powerhouse team in NASCAR, ladies and gentlemen. They are not. And he's wanting to be the face of NASCAR. There's a Netflix documentary coming out about him. And I have to say, if you want to be the face of NASCAR, you have to win. That's all there is to it. You have to win. Now, exceptions have been made in the past. Dale Earnhardt Jr., for instance. He did not do the winning that his father did. He didn't come close to the winning that his father did. But when you carry the last name Earnhardt and you're front and center of the sport and the fans flock to you because of who your dad was, especially after his tragic death in 2001, you become the face of NASCAR. Now, that's not to say that fans flock to Dale Jr. just because of who his daddy was. No, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a genuine person. He's a cool guy. I've met him a few times, had a conversation with him. Very cool guy. He's the kind of guy that you can go and have a beer with. He's very authentic, and he's passionate about the sport. He's passionate about the history of the sport, preserving the history of the sport, and at the same time, carrying on the legacy of the sport to the future. Bubba Wallace is none of those things. From the time that he has come into the Cup Series, it seems like it's been all about Bubba. It's not about anything else. It's not about, hey, I'm in the 43 car. This is the most famous car in NASCAR Cup Series competition. Richard Petty, 200 wins, the king. I don't get the feeling that Bubba was out there trying to add to the legacy of the 43. No. I felt like he was out there logging laps, trying to make a splash, and looking for the next job. Which, as soon as his contract was up, guess what happened? He took a different job. Even though Richard Petty was building a program around him, Richard Petty braved COVID during the time that everybody was freaking out about COVID to go to the track at Talladega to show support for his driver after the noose incident, which at the time seemed like the right thing to do. Now, of course, as the facts came out later on, it seemed like, okay, everybody was trying to show solidarity and support for a driver that they felt was wronged, who actually wasn't wronged. But I get what he was going for when Richard Petty made the trip out to the track. In the last few years, the face of NASCAR has become Chase Elliott. Why? He's winning races. He won the Cup Series championship in 2020. That's how you become the face of something. Bubba hasn't won anything. Now, to build a complete argument, I want to share with you his Xfinity Series statistics. Now, the Xfinity Series, for those who don't know, is like AAA baseball. It's the minor leagues. In 5 years of competition there, 85 races, 0 wins, 6 top 5s, 35 top 10s, 2 pole awards, with an average finish of 13.6. Now, you go down to the Camping World Truck Series, which is like AA baseball. 49 starts. Now, there he has had success. 6 wins, 15 top 5s, 28 top 10s, 3 poles. Average finish, 10.9. But winning in the Truck Series does not make you the face of NASCAR. You're a long way from it. Winning in the Xfinity Series. The tagline for the Xfinity Series is, "Names are made here." He didn't win. Did he really make a name for himself in the Xfinity Series? Or did he take advantage of circumstances to get the promotion to the Cup Series? Well, he kind of took advantage of situations. The thing that drives me absolutely bonkers about the entire Bubba Wallace situation in NASCAR right now is if you say anything negative about Bubba, it's not because he's a driver who hasn't won a race. It's not because he's in top equipment and he's not performing well. No, it's because you're racist. A Fox Sports journalist, I'm not going to name his name, actually tweeted as much when people had a problem with the Netflix documentary announcement. Really? People are wanting drivers and people in general to be rewarded for success rather than because of their skin color? I thought we were supposed to be looking at content of character, accomplishments, and the like, rather than skin color. And I know this is going to sound really, really bad. And I almost want to apologize, but I'm not, because when you look at the title of the show, it's unwoke. Guess what? Bubba's only half black. He has a white father. So do we give him the full black treatment, or do we give him a half white treatment? Do we give him half black treatment? I don't know what to do here. All I could say is, Bubba Wallace, if you want to be the face of NASCAR, start winning races. Okay? That's all there is to it. Now, before I get to the final story that I want to talk about today, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying what I'm doing. I am not a host. I'm not usually in front of a microphone. I'm usually behind the scenes. I'm the guy pushing the buttons. I'm the guy getting images and graphics and putting together stupid videos or stupid clips and doing all sorts of weird things. This is not my forte. And in the past, whenever I did a podcast, I had a friend of mine that we would go back and forth. So this whole solo thing is very unnerving to me. So I hope that you're enjoying it, and I hope that you stick around and grow with me, okay? Because that's what this is. This is a chance for me to do my thing the way that I want to do it, and hopefully gain some skills in the process. It might be painful, but I promise, if you tough it out with me, it will get better, okay? I promise it will get better. And hey, in the future, like I said, hit me up on Twitter at TV's Rob Official. And if you want to come on the show and you want to complain about something that's going on in the world, let's do it. Let's have a conversation. Let's go back and forth. Who cares? Let's hang out. Have a beer virtually. So is cancel culture coming after Snow White now? I know that seems like such a weird question to ask. But you have to wonder, will Snow White be canceled next? Why? Revamped ride at Disneyland sparks backlash over True Love's kiss scene because she is asleep and not able to give the prince consent. A revamped version of Disneyland's famed Snow White ride is drawing backlash for portraying the True Love's kiss scene, which critics say undermines lessons about consent by portraying the prince kissing Snow White while she is asleep. Previously focusing on the Wicked Queen and known as Snow White's Scary Journey, the updated ride takes a more light-hearted approach to the tale and features fresh animatronics and all new scenes. The ride now culminates in the True Love's kiss scene, in which the prince, believing Snow White to be dead, kisses her, breaking the queen's curse that had put her into a deep trance. A kiss he gives to her without her consent while she's asleep. Noted reviewers told the SF Gates, a kiss he gives to her without her consent while she's asleep, which cannot possibly be true love if only one person knows it's happening. Haven't we already agreed that consent in early Disney movies is a major issue? That teaching kids that kissing, when it hasn't been established if both parties are willing to engage, is not okay? It's hard to understand why the Disneyland of 2021 would choose to add a scene with such old-fashioned ideas of what a man is allowed to do to a woman, especially given the company's current emphasis on removing problematic scenes from rides like Jungle Cruise and Splash Mountain. Why not reimagine an ending in keeping with the spirit of the movie and Snow White's place in the Disney canon, but that avoids this problem? Seriously, people? We're going to get all butthurt and twisted over a scene on a ride at an amusement park from a fairy tale. A fairy tale. Look, people, seriously, people like this need to pull their heads out of their asses and start looking at the bigger picture of things. This is stupid, 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 to say the least. What about personal responsibility? Now, if you're a parent and you're on that ride with your kids and you want to bring up, hey, you know, you see what that prince did? Yeah, Don't ever do that with a woman because she needs to give consent. Leave it up to the parents. Oh, wait. Oh, I forgot. Most parents aren't even parents today. That's right. I forgot. Sorry. Well, hey, that's going to do it for episode 2 of TV's Rob is Unwoke. That's right. Episode 2 in the books. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to get in on the action and make your mark on the show, go to anchor.fm/TV's Rob is Unwoke and leave a voice message. I'll play a selection of them in future episodes. Also, if you want to come on the show and talk about something that's really pissing you off, send me a message on Twitter at TV'sRob_official. We'll discuss whatever is on your mind. Special thanks to my wife and producer, Nikki. You can follow her on Twitter at DFW Radio Girly. And I'd also like to thank Ryoga, who's been attacking my feet and meowing all throughout the episode. But hey, until next week, I'm TV's Rob. We'll see you then.